suppose we could go a step further, right, and get in that description all of those terms that are akin to it, so that we have a very interesting full picture of the is. Now, what would happen, do you think, if we were then to put someone under a hypnotic trance and read them a description of this and tell them they are going to experience it when they come out of hypnosis? Then they would be able to confirm whether that experience is in fact possible, and then they would be able to tell us, would they not, about the nature of what is.
I think you have enlightenment for 25.95.
I was present. We had an experiment once, some years ago, where we took this very thing and we added to it Plato's Symposium, the vision of the nature of reality, what is, and some chap went into it, and we brought a hypnotist, of course, who brought the person into it, and read it to him in all the splendid detail, and he was under, and he was experiencing it under hypnosis, and he was really ecstatic. And then, of course, the hypnotist said, now, look here, you're going to forget everything, you're going to wake up, and you're going to feel great, but when it's 10 o'clock, you'll see when it's exactly 10 o'clock that you're going to come out of it, and you're going to live through the experience again. Only this time, fully awake. And so he came out of it, and he said, well, he said, when are we going to do this experiment? And everyone was going, ha, 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 ha. And he got quite agitated after a few minutes, and he said, he kept looking at the clock. He said, I thought it was at least 10 o'clock. Bing! And he went through the whole thing. He went through the whole thing. And I don't know whether I would advise it, because there's a whole question of integration and what you have to have and what you have to do, and whether or not hypnosis is equivalent to LSD, and whether there are any differences, and whether either should be used. There's a whole bunch of theoretical questions that are important to ask. But what was most interesting about this evening was the fact that I turned to the hypnotist and I said, look here, there's a whole group of people in this room, and there were. The whole place was full. Big room. And I said, why don't you just now take the whole group, induce a group hypnosis, and let everybody go into it, whammo, and we'll have a good time this evening. Well, he got before the group, and I mean, this chap was, the blood must have drained out of him. He turned fearful. He turned afraid in a few seconds. And it looked like he was going to faint. And he ran outside and he threw up everything he had formerly eaten. And he would have nothing to do with it, and he gave up hypnosis after that. So sometime later, to tell you the story, I had a chance to have a cup with him, a cup of coffee. And he said at that moment, to possess that kind of power was something that he had never, ever anticipated. And therefore, it shook him right down to the foundations, and he couldn't act it out. Yeah, the responsibility, group responsibility was overwhelming to him. Yeah. So that was my ignorance in asking him to do it.
Could the gentleman or the person who experienced the hypnotic state, could he put words on what he experienced? Was he able to describe it?
Oh, indeed.
At the 10 o'clock when
oh, yes.
Waking experience?
No. He had the experience, and when he came out, he used that vocabulary precisely and talked about it, and went into even more language, all consistent with the first set of terms. Used many more terms than we originally had given.
So are you claiming that by reading the symposium that it will activate the mind to go to some his state? Or his mind was activated to go to his state?
I can just tell you the story. I think there are several possibilities, and they're all worth looking at. And I think that's a couple of them.
See, I've basically experienced this myself on the LSD, and that's why,
Sure.
However, I mean, to me, that is one vision of reality, because I have experienced other visions of other models of reality. I mean, I'm not denying that model as being valid. That model is fully valid since I've experienced it, but also there's other coexistent models which are also fully valid, if that makes sense.
Only if they jive with that one, right?
That
you
is
did
one
experience
way,
that.
That's one way, yes, that is one experience which doesn't, I mean, there's a part of you
Yeah.
which is always in that. You cannot get away from isness.
Sure. Could I ask you a couple questions? One is, if they are these possible ones, and one of them is this one, right? Say there are 4 possible ones, and you had to make a choice now, which one would you go towards?
Oh, that's definitely
Why?
the best thing I've experienced.
Why? Why do you want
It's
to?
aesthetics, but it is
Ecstatic.
both. No, I'm saying aesthetics, just not.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, it's more beautiful.
Ah, more real? Does that beauty have any reality to it? Or is it just pictures?
Well,
You know, the smile on the Cheshire cat? What?
it is more real.
Oh.
Feels more real, should I say.
Yeah. Vitality to it as well? Or dead?
I'll use the word vitality. I never considered it in that term. But yeah, if you put it.
Yeah, vivacious in that sense, alive,
Yeah,
living. Yeah.
Even,
Stupid?
no, but even
wait a
though
minute.
it's totally wicked,
Mindful?
vitality at the same time is totally still. I mean, it's
Oh, yes,
vitality
yes.
at the same time as
Yeah,
being
yeah.
static.
Yes, yeah. Any boundaries? No. No limits? Could you use the word perfect? Ah, perfect. Right. Perfectly complete. Yeah. So therefore, you need an argument. We have to come together and find an argument that would say, yes, while there are other models that are experiential, or possible to be experienced, this stands out as unique among them all because it shares all of these terms in such a high level, perhaps most perfectly, and therefore it is the most perfect vision. That's when you have to find an argument for that. But that's
However, you couldn't go along 24 hours a day living
No.
It's a bit burning reality at the same time.
You may for 24, but we'd be pushing it at 48.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it burns you at the
Yeah.
same time as
Oh, yes.
being wonderful.
Wait.
I have a friend of mine who was into Zen and bumped into one of these experiences, and so the Zen Roshi said to him, what makes you think it's real? I said, I don't have to think. So the Roshi said, well, any differences? Kid said, no differences. The Roshi said, well, could you have a hamburger? He says, nope. Roshi said, why? The kid said, if I was eating a hamburger, I would keep on eating all the way to my elbows because I wouldn't know any differences. So that's your point. Right, that's a Zen story for those. It's very famous in Huntington Beach, by the way. Yeah.
Is that guy over there without it?
You want to know whether it's true? That's another problem. No, but a variation of that did in fact happen with someone I know. So the last paragraph I read to you was from Elysius. Yes, hold it. Yes.
Oh, no, I didn't have questions.
Oh, I thought you had your hand raised.
I did.
Ah, good.
I just corrected that.
Well then.
Just one final.
Sure.
When we were talking before and you were laying out the model with the knowledge and understanding and so forth, you were standing in that model and with that filter or that screen judging other models. You could not do that unless we were somehow to take and wipe your mind completely clean and then bring you over to China and give you a totally different mind.
Yes.
And you were saying that
That's
model is exquisite, is, I'm trying to find the words, is perhaps a truthful model. And